Hey, Cal, thanks so much for taking time to talk to us about the all-important video production world. We have moved into a new era of engagement, and of course, we've spent a lot of time in the production world. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Wisdom Capture and its history and how we kind of got from its history as it relates to the work we do to now the role we're playing with in the association world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, more and more, obviously, video production is becoming an important thing, and sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. But I think that what has helped carry us through from our inception to now, and not just being in the right place at the right time, as luck would have it, but really kind of manifesting your destiny was once upon a time we had, our former CEO and founder and the other co-founder had a little meeting, a little wisdom kind of exchange, and they found out, hey, in 15 minutes, I just got overwhelmed with nuggets of wisdom of these kind of what happened once upon a time, these aha moments that helped change the way that I am, that helped change the way that I lead. And those things were just locked away. Those were in a one-on-one mentorship meeting. And the thought was, hey, how do we change that? How do we democratize this wisdom? And the thought was, well, low attention spans, we need to get stories in here because that's the way people learn, that's the way people retain information. And so the thought was to make these 1 to 3 minute stories of wisdom, reflections and applications of what was actually learned in these exchanges, these conversations, and spread these out. Well, it turns out if you just do that in a spray pattern, it doesn't really land anywhere, it doesn't hit anywhere. And again, this is kind of the theme here is aiming somewhere, manifesting a destiny. If you talk about, hey, when we think, what does it mean to be a member of UNICEF? What does it mean to be a member of Visa? What does it mean to be a member of ASAE, important organization? What does it mean to walk the walk there? You talk about cultural values, you talk about mission, you talk about leadership principles, all these different words that mean the DNA of what it means to be that person. And so you go in and Wisdom Capture has been blessed to have the opportunity to tell these stories and extract these mission critical values through personal stories from all the way from the CEO all the way down to interns, brand new employees, team members, and things like that. You start to understand, I know that it's important to engage and nurture relationships. I know it's important, but what does that actually mean? Tell me about a time you did that. Tell me a time when that didn't go so well for you. Some of these aha moments. And the work that we get to do now is taking these very important things that normally they would go in person meetings, events, conferences, even just in the office, day-to-day little exchanges. These things aren't happening anymore, and they're not happening to the same level. So we get to go in and very much align the opportunity to tell the story with the story itself, and actually have a takeaway. And what does that matter? So one key opportunity that we've seen, which I would say in the world of video production, I'm going to be pontificating a bit here, but one thing that we've seen is you have to have the ability, you have to someone in your realm that has the ability to say that's a bad idea. That's to say that is not going to work. And usually what that means is, hey, we're going to do this 15-minute presentation and this board story and this long drawn out thing because hey, we want to share this story. That story, even if it's a really good Hollywood movie, if you don't change a scene in 15 minutes, I mean, Michael Bay can't even keep your attention for 15 minutes with explosions and all that stuff. It's got to matter.
Let me ask a question. So Wisdom Capture started as a story brand, as just a company values video company that would go in and grab these values and transfer them along. And I think as we move into this new world of, to your point, we've got to capture content that connects. And a lot of times we love to hear ourselves talk. We think we're so interesting, but it's amazing how the brain is being changed to go with TikTok and Instagram videos and everything else. I mean, people are so used to processing information in under a minute. Tell me what's the biggest challenge. So why I love Wisdom Capture is because its roots are in story. Its roots are in value. It's not just a transactional video production company. It's a transformational storytelling brand. And that is so important to what I love about it. But as you've got into this new space of meetings and events and associations, what's the biggest challenge? And we only have a few minutes, so give me some quick, I'm gonna rapid fire you. What's the biggest challenges that organizations are having to use film to connect with their people?
The challenge is that there's not experts on staff at these places.
Mm.
There's not experts in storytelling and connection. And that's where you need a partner to come in and tell you, good idea, bad idea. Very quickly, you have to trust that the other person is an expert in what they're doing.
Yep.
We have to know that sometimes, that it's like, we need to say these things, we need to tell these stories. And then I'm on the other side saying, you got to tell it quicker. You got to tell it in a more interesting way.
So the biggest challenge, I think you're right, is, hey, we're not a storytelling company. We're an association. What we have in common is people. What is it that from your experience, the listener, the viewer is most, what works best? What is the biggest traction getter as you begin to tell story?
It's being relatable. Put me in a situation that I can relate to. Maybe I'm not the CEO of a company, so I'm not going to view it through that lens, but I can view it through the lens of struggle. I can view it through the lens of entertainment, something that's inherently interesting, something that's engaging. I can relate to that. I can relate to losing something. I can relate to, gaining something. I remember actually just last year, we were interviewing Ben Irwin, the CEO of PSAV, now Encore. And, he was telling me the story about during 2020, PSAV had to let go a ton of people, right? A ton of people. And I'm sitting there for a second thinking, I cannot relate to you. I can't imagine anybody relating to you. And 2 seconds later, Ben is a fantastic storyteller, and he brings it down to a moment of just, do you understand how crushing it is to say goodbye to someone that has placed trust in you, that has given up so much for you and the organization, and you have to make a difficult decision to say goodbye to somebody? And anyone who's been through life, it's just trivializing it, but saying goodbye to a pet, saying goodbye to a long-term friend, saying goodbye to a significant other, something like that. It's something you can relate to. And it was just a great way to say, oh, I don't care if you're in a different place than me. I can relate to that.
Yep. Let's talk, which is great, relatable. Let's talk a little bit about scale. If an organization comes to you and says, hey, we want to do physical and hybrid content creation, how do you come in? How would you advise them to do that well as we move into a new world of hybrid? And it's like, hey, we need to film stuff on site. We need to film stuff that we can scale. What do you see the future of this whole thing you've been doing of like capturing film? What does the future look like?
The future, I'm getting down to simple stuff here. It's in storytelling. The one thing that we come up against every single day on calls is people want to do 2 things at once. They want to make this evergreen piece that's going to last until 2-3 years, but they want to recap this event that just happened.
Yeah.
That is so difficult. It's so difficult for our occupied minds to track 2 different threads and put them together and just in communications. I want to send a message. I want to be received a certain way. Yeah. When you get in these silos and these echo chambers, it's like, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I can't tell you enough how many times we've seen great projects go sideways because somebody wants to do 2 things at once. And so understanding the opportunity that you have people to engage in a virtual or a hybrid event right now, you can go all over the place. You can do them all for free. I'm sure everyone signed up for one that you didn't go to, or signed up for 10 that you didn't go to, even 10 of them. When you have somebody's attention, you have to be a good steward of that opportunity and understand that, say one thing you want to do and trust that that message was done with good intent, going to be well received, and someone's going to follow up on that.
So if you were looking at one piece of advice you're going to give a association or meeting as they begin to get out and create story that will successfully connect, here's my one piece of advice I'm going to give you.
The one piece of advice that I would give is listen to your core team, and then listen to an external partner, whether that be somebody that you're paying, like a Wisdom Capture, a creative agency, a storytelling brand, or be it a trusted board of friend advisors. Listen to those groups, because one of them is going to tell you the tough truth. Okay. One of them is going to plant a seed and you're gonna go, damn it, I wish I didn't hear that, because now I got to take action on this thing, and be bold enough to take that action. For example, we're working with a big international partner right now, and we are located in San Diego, California. We also have an office in Idaho, and we've got a team all over the United States. we have an opportunity to do a filming in the Netherlands. And the challenge is, well, we're not physically there. Well, okay, let's step out of our, of our little box here and think we have an opportunity to, why can't we do this in San Diego? And so now the ball is in motion. We've got a host in San Diego. We've got a studio in San Diego, a proper hybrid environment, one person live in a studio, projected into a virtual stage that's going to be connected with other faces around the world. So it was a tough challenge at the time to say, you don't have to do this in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this here.
I think
and it's just amazing to see what can happen.
I think what's so great about what you're talking about is, all of us make decisions based on the paradigm that we live in, right? And so I have all my information is like right here, and this is how I make my decisions. But what's great about partners is that they bring an expanded dynamic. And when you can begin to expand it, now all of a sudden I can start making decisions this big and this big and this big, because man, I didn't even know I could do that. And so I think, what I'm hearing is, hey, here's my really big piece of advice. Bring people in that it can expand your knowledge base. Be willing to hear the tough answers, because at the end of the day, all the content that you create, it can be evergreen. It doesn't have to be transactional. I mean, it really can be stuff that you go, man, we capture that. I mean, think about it. I watched the movie Jerry Maguire last night because somebody mentioned it to me. 1996, that movie came out. I had an absolute blast watching it last night. I mean, almost 20 years later, it's like, that's amazing. So I think you can create story, but you need partners to do it. And you need to go, I need people to have that as in their ethos. They're not just trying to film something. They're trying to bring something out. And I think that's the future of content and why it's so important. Man, thanks for making time just to spend time with us and talk about, storytelling and how it can help in the future, expanding our minds and doing our work together. It's going to go a long way to helping everybody learn.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Josh.
Well, man, appreciate it. Cool.
Hey, do you guys want to talk really quick about the in and out, and I'll just take notes as you talk through it?
Oh, sure. That's a good idea. Kyle, what is one thing that people need to put in their life if they're going to be successful at telling stories? So like, I got to get this in the way I do life so that I can be successful when I'm in terms of my brand telling great stories.
Yeah, geez. I mean, I always thought this was the cheapest answer of somebody who was at a high level in an organization to say that the team that surrounds you. I thought it was such a cheap cop out. I mean, if you're looking around and you're not seeing somebody who's smarter than you, faster than you, more clever than you, more whatever than you. I mean, I just joined a design thinking group last Friday, for example. I thought I was pretty good at this whole experience thing. I was absolutely made to look like a kindergartner, thanks to this group of completely different, way smarter, way more accomplished thinkers than I was. Thanks to an invite from my professional network, but just joining this group of other people. People say it's hard to join friend groups, hard to make new friends. There are a million groups out there on LinkedIn, on wherever you can look. I already feel like I've benefited a ton from that interaction.
And what's one thing you got to get out of your life? You just got to take it out and get that thing out of there.
I feel like everyone knows the answer to their own life. I don't know what that is, but in terms of what we do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In terms of practices of like, hey, we want to be a great storytelling brand. We feel like all of our content's fallen flat. What are some stuff we got to get out of the organization if we're going to do this?
As it comes to creating content, I think you have to get out of your comfort zone in what video production is. It doesn't take a whole ton to move the needle in how you're presenting yourself, whether that be a better piece of equipment. And I'm not talking about a $5,000 camera. I have 2 computer screens in front of me. Those are my lights. I don't have a bunch of lights around me. And I'm nice and evenly lit. I've got a simple background. I don't have an expensive office.
Right.
Get out of your mind that you are doing enough in producing yourself. You like, even you, Josh, I would give you a knock on your situation right here, because you're very backlit, but you still got your face nice and lit up. It's a nice scene. It's something that your image deserves the attention that your message has. And so get out of your mind the thought that everything's just okay by the way it is.
Right.
Put some effort in.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, dude.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Josh.
Okay, man. I got to jump to an
Anything else,
11.
Lauren? Yeah, same.
Just the questions, but we can probably just bust through those.
Do you want to just toss one out real quick? I know it's 1 minute. I don't know, whatever
The
that question is.
Awareness. All those, Josh, do you want me to write those all down?
Yeah. I don't have them on my computer right now because I just got a new computer and it's not saved on this one yet. So
What computer did you get?
just a new MacBook Air. My screen went to poo. So,
Yeah, it's doing much better for your camera situation.
oh,
Honestly.
I put the ring on.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey-o.
Yeah. It helps a lot. So, all right, I got to bounce.
Okay. All right, homies.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.